Hey there, welcome back. Let's talk about the screen blending mode. So this is one of the most commonly used blending modes in Photoshop. And basically how it works is by multiplying the light pixels together, which if you guys remember, is the exact opposite of how the multiply blending mode works. So multiply multiplies the dark pixels together, making things darker. Screen multiplies the light pixels together, making things even lighter. So in this blending mode, black is going to be completely invisible, and this is actually a little bit lighter than the lighten blending mode. So super commonly used, and we've got a couple of great examples. Let's go ahead and jump into Photoshop. So here for our first example, we're in Sample Images, Chapter 3, 09 Screen, and we've got a light glow. So we've just got one image here, and I just wanted to give you an interesting use case scenario here where you can like add a glow to some lights. So let's create a new layer. There we go. And I'm going to hit B for the brush tool. Now let's just zoom in, and I'm going to hold Alt or Option and just sample one of these bright red colors here, right next to those lights. Okay. Now zooming out with just a large soft edge brush, I'm just going to paint with some of this color right around our lights. There we go. And we're just giving this a little bit of an effect. There we go. And we'll do so in the reflection as well. All right. So you can see, in this case, this obviously does not look realistic here at all. And in this case, this is darkening the neon. So if you do want to add like a little bit of a light glow, a screen blend mode is definitely the way to go. So let's change this from normal down to screen, and we can see that all of a sudden our light glows look a lot more realistic. They're not darkening anything down at all, obviously, because it's in the lighten group, and we have a really nice glow around our images, or around our lights. Now in this case, this is just a little bit too visible, so I'm just going to use our eraser. There we go. To just kind of erase this away just a little bit, and maybe I'll paint it back just a little bit more. So a little bit of finesse here, but we can see we have a really interesting glow around our lights. So in this case, obviously it's neon, but you can do this with any light in your image. You can do this with a sunset and just add like a nice warm glow to your photos. All right, cool example. Let's take a look at our next one. We're going to add stars to the sky. So we're back in our sample images, Chapter 3, Screen, and we're in our stars folder. Let's go ahead and open up both of those. There we go. And I'm just going to grab my Move tool and hit Shift, click and drag from one image to another, and now we've got the stars. Let's just go ahead and size that down just a little bit. Okay. Now, obviously, we have light stars on a dark background. So a screen blending mode is going to hide the dark background and just show the stars. So let's go ahead and put screen on there. And here you can see we have a really cool example of stars in the night sky. Now, incredibly easy to do, right? It's like, no stars, stars. Just one little thing. The stars are showing up over our subject here. And all we have to do is mask out our subject. Now, you can mask your subject out in a number of ways. Earlier in this tutorial, we talked about using luminosity blending, or blend if, and in my opinion, that's the fastest, easiest way to do this. So let's go ahead and show you guys how to do it. So to get to your luminosity blending, or blend if, you can double click right here on your layer, or go to FX and to blending options. So here where I'm going to see in my blending options, towards the bottom, I see blend if. Now, I don't want this layer, my stars layer, to be visible where the underlying layer is darker, right? Because you can see this dark area obviously showing up in front of my subject. So we have our underlying layer slider, and we have our dark area. So I'm going to hold Alt or Option to separate these two sliders out, and just like see if I grab that and just pull it, just like that, right? Like almost no work at all. It just completely disappears from the dark area of my subject, which is exactly what we want. So here's our first example of using our luminosity blending as well as a blending mode to get our effect. Now you'll notice that the luminosity blending that we use to make it invisible where our subject is, that doesn't work the same way as the layer mask does. So we could actually move our layer, we could scale our layer up and down, and it's going to keep the same effect, not being visible where the underlying layer is darker. All right, well, there we have it, guys. A really simple example on how to add stars to any sky simply using a screen blending mode. So the screen blending mode, one of the most common blending modes in Photoshop. Again, if you just want your dark areas to disappear and your light areas to stay, you're going to stick with the screen blending mode. Next, we're going to take a look at color dodge, which is even brighter than screen. We've got blown out highlights with this one and super saturated midtones. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video.